Hi! Okay, so I was hit with major nostalgia. um, we know about my obsession with anime, and I think I did like 3 videos about it. And YouTube has been recommending this particular animated anime. And I was like, I that seems familiar, but it's Unico. And I used to watch it all the time. How is it that I forgot about it? Good heavens. So I watched it. I just finished watching because actually I think there's like 3 movies. Maybe just the 2. And let's see. Oh, excuse me. Probably shouldn't do these late at night. Okay. Let's, yeah, there was The Adventures of Unico and then Island of Magic. Oh, it seems like there was another one, but that could have been my imagination. So, the thing about anime is that, especially in the 80s, it was everywhere. And there were, I think I said this in one of my other videos, where it didn't seem like anime, but it was. Like, Jason the Wheeled Warriors, it doesn't seem like anime, but it is. And, I mean, like Pokemon, we know. Sailor Moon, we know. Jason the Wheeled Warriors, we don't really know. But there's just those cartoons that you don't know that it's anime, but it is. And this one, at first, when you watch it, you don't really realize it. And then as it continues, you know, some of the characters, like Beazle, you really realize it. I don't know if there's been any critiques on Unico, but when it first starts out, um, you know, it just seems like one of those light versus dark and everything. A typical 80s movie. Because you gotta understand, Star Wars was done, and that's the major light versus dark. Because when you think about some of the other movies, like, yeah, American Tail, there's a light versus dark thing going on there. The mice versus the cats, but Spielberg put a light versus dark there because his best friend is George Lucas. And then you had like Nemo in Slumberland. That's another anime, one of my favorites, and I'm surprised I don't have it. But um, that was a light versus dark, and but that was based off comic books. I mean, a comic strip series from the Edwardian era, and which I highly recommend you look up because actually, I looked up the comic strip. The comic strip was actually written by someone from New York. So for them to go the anime route was kind of surprising, but in certain ways, I guess it worked. But so anyway, Unico. I have to tell you something. When I watched it again, because like I said, I had totally forgotten about Unico, and big fan of The Last Unicorn. One thing about the 80s, there were a lot of horses. Horses, unicorns, rainbows. The rainbow thing, saw a lot of. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you've seen it. It's right up there. I actually got that for my birthday because Blossom was my My Little Pony. Um, which that I got, my parents got at Target. It's the 35th anniversary, so they have quite a few. And so just a little side note there. If any of you are fans of the My Little Pony or you have kids who are, go pick those up. If they aren't out, or if they aren't out of them already, like the clearance thing, or. But anyway, so Unico started out as manga, and that, and it starts off as this cute little. First of all, Unico is this little unicorn, white with pink hair, so you would think it's a little girl. It's a little boy. Unico was a boy. In fact, let me get a picture here. Let me see if I can do this right. Let's get Unico up here. We've never seen Unico. And he's this adorable little. Okay. There he is. Just, and his horn lights up. He does have magic powers and everything, and there's this, and he does have wings. They look like little dragonfly wings. He's a cute little guy, and that was one thing I forgot. And this is one thing that I love about Unico is that the fact that his appearance, you think, you know, whenever they would do like the male, you would expect like blue. They changed it, so he's very different. Kind of like with Garfield. When I was talking about Garfield, I mentioned Normal. Normal, we're still trying to figure out what gender. um, and to be quite honest, it's a fictional cat, so who really cares what the gender is? It's a character that comes in every once in a while. It's not like it really matters. But with Unico, it's a little boy, and the power that Unico has is bringing happiness and joy. And so he's the good. Well, the gods don't like that. And so they decide to get rid of Unico. And so, and this is where I kind of wish that, when I was watching this, I wish that this particular animation for anime was back. Because nowadays they do like the huge eyes. And I mean, it's everywhere. The huge eyes, the proportions aren't right. I mean, it was just, I mean, like with Unico, his head is too big for his body, first of all. But, I mean, or it seems like since once the 80s stopped, it was like if it wasn't the more adult anime, you had the adult anime where the women were big breasted. Nowadays, it just seems like you put big breasted women everywhere. And it's not really needed. And I know every guy is going to be like, yeah, it's needed. Well, probably not just guys, but. Anyway, I'm going on every track. But the animation, and especially because the gods are saying that we need to put him into this land of oblivion or the mountain of oblivion or whatever and get rid of this little unicorn. Because they need to decide happiness for people instead of this little creature. And the animation for the West Wind is gorgeous. She's beautiful. And can we go back to that? How she moves, the way that they were able to get her movement and everything, and is just very lovely. I know I say gorgeous a lot, but it was very satisfying, I guess, when you watch her. And then you have the North Wind, and that's the dark. And she was also one that was animated very well. And this is the thing though about a lot of anime. Saw it in Ranma, saw it, and you see it in like Trigun or Trigun or whatever. They always have to have somebody who is dressed like 17th century French people. Saw it in this too. There's always someone who comes in, and I don't know what it is about the Japanese anime that they do that. And they actually had it in Black Butler at one point. I know I didn't get that far into it, but I saw a clip where they had somebody dressed like that, and I'm just like, or maybe it was one of the main characters and he was dressed like that. I think it was Black Butler, the guy that he was a butler to, the kid. I'm like, but you expect it. There's always a character that is dressed like that. But anyway, and there's one in this anime. And I gotta watch the other one, the Island of Magic. I'll be doing that after this. Island of Magic Unico. And for it being called Adventures of Unico, I was kind of hoping that there would be at least 3 people that he would run into before the final battle, but you know, usually these movies for kids were an hour and a half, and I don't remember if this was a TV movie or not, and I'm not really seeing where it was. So, and especially I think this was, yeah, it was Japanese, so it could have been released to theaters over there, and then we had it directly to television. So um and by all means, if you know, because I remember renting it and um seeing it that way. But um yeah, the one character though, Katie, as a human, And when you watch it, you'll understand if you've never seen it. When she, as a human, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a tribute to, I mean, Kiki's Delivery Service, I swear, was like a major tribute. The characters were like a huge tribute to this. And it may not have been, but she had a big red bow in her hair, and her hair was, and Kiki's hair was close to, um, let me see if I can find, yeah, there she is. So those of you who are big fans of Kiki's Delivery Service, there's, there she is. That's Katie. And she was a black cat too. So and I absolutely love Kiki's Delivery Service. I think that's uh, that's one of the few more modern. That one and oh shoot, I'm totally blanking on it. Totoro. I'll know it after I'm done with this, because that's how my life is. But Kiki is one of my favorite, and I just think it's delightful. But there were a lot of things that I had forgotten. Um, because I remember watching this one, but there were some things I forgot. Oh man, I am gonna give a couple spoilers because before you decide to watch it with your kids, you say, "Oh yeah, I remember Unico." Um, there is a point where Unico goes after the guy. You know, he has Katie chained to his one of these poles on his castle, and the French dressed dude has her chained to his castle, and Unico goes after him to save, and like slices his face or something, and he falls and is impaled. And I'm like, I totally do not remember that. And I know I watched the whole thing because I remembered the final battle, but I really did not remember that part. And like, I saw that and I'm like, oh, because it's like those spikes that come up. They have the roof that the dome roof that goes up on a castle, and it always has those spikes that come up. Yeah, he impaled himself on that spike, and I'm like, I don't remember that part. But you gotta think it was the 80s, and especially with anime, they made it realistic. But then you have the final battle with him, because that's how. I mean, it's a magical thing. So, um, but yeah, before you start watching it with your kid, you gotta figure that. So I would watch it before you're watching it with your child. For me, it was a different time. I watched a lot of. I mean, I saw the Mounts of Minsk. That was pretty scary. And Secret of Nim. Oh, that gave me a nightmare. And then, of course, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the animated Legend of Sleepy Hollow. That was pretty scary. And I mean, there were just a lot of things that I saw when I was a kid that were very, very dark and very, very scary. So I was, but that I just don't remember watching. Like, and then of course you think about, okay, The Little Mermaid. That final battle with Ursula was pretty dark. I mean, yeah, that alone, yeah. I mean, she was impaled. That was so. I guess that and that alone just wasn't that bad. If you're letting your kids see that, of course he fell. That was, but yeah, little Unico, and there is manga. I guess he shows up. Let me see what this says. Cause I was looking it up. There is an anime called Blackjack, and he shows up in the TV series. And in Unico also made an appearance in the Game Boy Advanced Astro Boy Omega Factor. And Unico can also be seen in a brief cameo in Game Boy characters for Game Boy Color. Unico Films, Fantastic Adventures. Okay, so I guess over there it was called Fantastic Adventures, and over in Japan it was Fantastic Adventures, because this says Adventures of Unicorn. Either way, because when they release over there, it'll have a different title, and then I've noticed that when I am critiquing silent films, because a lot of times the silent films over in another when it's released in another country will be given a different title, and a lot of time, even now, um movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I guess, got a different title, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, some of the more the newer movies from like 80s and 90s and 2000s, um it's the same thing. So and it's just a language thing. I learned that in, of all places, my German class when I was taking German. I can't speak it, but I did learn a few things. um, and then Island of Magic. Okay, so the films were produced by Sanrio, and Sanrio is of course best known for Hello Kitty, Tuxedo Sam, and Little Twin Stars, maybe cameo. Oh, wait a minute. It says so. Some of Sanrio's characters, such as Hello Kitty, Tuxedo Sam, and Little Twin Stars, make appearances in the films. I didn't see them, but that doesn't mean because I'm not familiar with them. I mean, I know Hello Kitty, but those other characters mean absolutely. I remember going to San Francisco and there was a Sanrio store, and a friend of mine had to go in there. I felt like I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh man. It's kind of like going to a wine tasting and you don't drink. It's like, what am I doing here? But anyway, so yeah, this was like a huge. Oh, there is another one. So it is called Fantastic. Okay. So the anime, um, Unico, Black Cloud, White Feather. Unico made his animated debut, and it's a ecologically themed pilot film, and it was released directly to video. I don't know if it ended up over here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. And then The Fantastic Adventures of Unico, so that's the one I watched. Unico and the Island of Magic. So there's 4 actually. And I'm seeing Island of Magic and Saving Our Fragile Earth. And it looks like these eco themed film Saving Our Fragile Earth is another eco theme is released they are released by a different animation studio, not the Sanrio. So there are 4 altogether. I thought it was just 2, maybe 3. But there's 4. So Black Cloud, White Feather, The Fantastic Adventures of Unico, which is what I watched. Back major nostalgia. And Unico and the Island of Magic. Saving Our Fragile Earth is the other one. And so the first and last one are eco-friendly, which doesn't surprise me at all because of the fact that during this time there was a lot of eco-friendly stuff. Like I said, especially when the Exxon spill happened. Now this one, the first one, Black Cloud, White Feather, was in 1979. But like I said, it doesn't say when this one was released. Maybe if I look up here. It doesn't say. Was it not released? It doesn't say up here that it was released. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it was. But this one, the last one, it says Astro Boy is in it, looks like. So that's one to actually look for. I'll try and look for it and watch it. I'm a fan of Astro Boy. I like Astro Boy. I wasn't too excited about the movie that they made not too long ago. I wasn't impressed with it. I didn't think it held up to the comic strip. I was very disappointed. So anyway, as a whole, I I was glad I sat down and watched this because I was like, okay, Unico, and even with looking at the little unicorn, and again, you look at the animated unicorn and you think, oh, well, this is supposed to be a girl. Nope, Unico's a little boy. And I'm glad I watched it because it brought back memories of my childhood. And by about the mid to late 80s is when the last unicorn came, I think. And I'm absolutely in love with that movie. I mean, this has some songs in it, and a lot of anime does. Especially these ones for kids. And like I said, there are some dark themes. Like I said, the guy was impaled and everything, but it led up to the final battle. So, but I would watch it before you actually watch it with your kids. I mean, like for me, I grew up watching stuff like that, and I hope you don't take it in a morbid sense. But like when you see Ursula getting impaled like that, but you guys know what your kids can take, so I would watch it first. But anyway, so and it's a good versus evil. I will look up these other ones. Like I said, I thought there was only two. I didn't know how many there were. I will try and find Black Cloud, White Feather. I will, of course, put the titles into the description so that you can find them too. I will watch them and then talk about them as I find them. Because I'm excited that I found. I was glad that YouTube recommended them to me. I'm. Oh my gosh. It took me back.